why do we have to pay so much extra for things like drinks and internet? Why so overpriced? It's a good question. It's not overpriced because I'm going to tell you this, Shane. If you were to ask people in the chat, they would say, so there's going to be a lot of people who say, I don't drink or I don't use the internet or both. So Royal Caribbean prices it in a way that allows it to be more modular, meaning you pay to get on the cruise ship and then you decide if you want to drink, there are drinks. If there's internet to purchase, but it's up to you to decide to pay for it because anything that's included in the cruise price, you're paying for it. Let's face it, right? If you go to a premium cruise line or a luxury cruise line that includes Wi-Fi, drinks, even shore excursions, some of the luxury lines, guess what? The price of that cruise is way higher than Royal Caribbean because you're paying for it. So Royal Caribbean's philosophy, whether you like it or not, that's the story, is to be a little more modular, to say, all right, Shane, if you want those things, you can purchase them and you can pay for them and get a package or pay as you go. But while you may want drinks and internet included in your cruise fare, there's a lot of other people who may not. And that's why, from a marketing standpoint, they go about it that way. It's pretty common among the mass market cruise lines, whether you're talking about Norwegian, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, obviously. Now you might say, well, Norwegian includes it in their, free whatever it is. I mean, they're technically including it in the sense that it's a booking promo, but the actual cruise fare doesn't include it, if that makes sense. Anyway, I digress. My point is that it's more modular that way. So you have a lower price to get in, but it allows you to have a little more flexibility because maybe you want it, maybe you don't. And that's the approach that's worked for you. Will the price for Icon of the Seas ever go down? Ever is the key word here. And the answer is yes. But ever infers that anytime between now and the next 20 years, of course, it'll go down. Here's the thing. I'm going to answer your question now less facetiously. Icon is the newest ship in the fleet. It's going to be the newest ship in the fleet. When you go on a new ship, Icon, Odyssey, Wonder, those three ships especially, you're paying a premium for being on the newest ship. Now, prices fluctuate all the time, but as Icon gets out there and people start sailing on her, and especially when Icon 2 and Utopia and Icon 3 come out, that helps. Demand for Icon will lessen, maybe not a lot, but it will go down a little bit. Now, will Icon ever be like, if you look at the price of Mariner of the Seas, you look at the price of Icon today, when will Icon become Mariner's price? In about 20 years when she's about as old as Mariner. I mean, that's the reality of cruising, but newer ships command a higher price, but eventually over time, the prices do tend to get lower as they age out a little bit more. So the answer is, will they ever go down? Yes, but probably not this year by any means. I mean, are the WOW bands waterproof? Can we go on the water slides or swim with them? The answer to all your questions is yes. These are, I've got one out so that way you could demonstrate it. But these are the RFID WOW bands. They're silicone. They're fully enclosed. I don't know if you can see it. You can't. You have to trust me on it. But the chip is in here and it's totally enclosed. So yeah, totally waterproof. No problem at all. You can totally do that. And if you're wondering, they're $9.95. You buy one, you can reuse them on future cruises, and you can get them at guest services once you get on board the ship. Do you honestly feel Icon will be 100% functional with everything open on inaugural? No. And that's pretty much the case, John. With any inaugural, that's rarely the case that everything is 100%. So the answer to your question is, do I feel honestly will be 100% functional with everything open on inaugural? No. And anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you. I mean, that's every inaugural there's always something missing. Maybe it's one or two things, maybe it's more, but I would not expect that to be the case. So I want to be realistic with you, John, what to expect there. And if that is a problem, you should defer your cruise or book a second cruise, one of the two. What's the best time to cruise to perfect day? Thinking about it for next year, but would really be bummed if we skip due to weather. Not January. January, not that there's any guarantees out there, but January tends to be the windiest month, and that tends to be more of an issue. I would say March is a great time. Spring break, quite frankly. It's warm, but not hot. Yeah, honestly, March or April are great times to go. And it's not hurricane season either. What exactly is a President's Cruise? It's essentially a Royal Caribbean cruise in which Royal Caribbean invites its cruise fans to come on board and sail with, well, the president of the company, Michael Bailey, along with some other things. It's basically a special, like, Royal Caribbean superfan cruise. It's open to everybody. What's going on in Spectrum in August? How different is this Asian cruise as opposed to US based? On Spectrum, there are going to be some noticeable differences, primarily the venues. There are certain specialty restaurants that don't exist anywhere else in the fleet, like Szechuan Red. In fact, the entire suite aspect is totally different than with what you're going to find over in the US. There'll be more casino space than in the US or anywhere else for that matter. So some noticeable difference, not major, still Royal Caribbean, but you're going to notice some venues that don't exist elsewhere, as well as probably more of a focus on gaming than bars, if you will. What are your thoughts on the beach bungalow at Columbus Cove at Labadee? I think they're great. I think the only issue with Columbus Cove in general, this doesn't mean to do with the bungalow, is that you have to usually go through the artisan market. It can be a little jarring, but once you're there, it's a great beach. It's the least crowded beach. The bungalows are great. They're big. I would call them a poor man's cabana, but they're honestly the only difference is you have instead of having three walls, you have two and a half walls. I mean, it's basically the same exact experience. I think it's a great choice. So, Jason, I would definitely recommend them. I think. Do you know how many days to get your refund when you cancel it and rebook? It depends on your bank, but usually right around 5 to 7 business days. I think Royal Caribbean has a more official number, James. They may tell you much longer than that, and it may be the case. I've usually had pretty good luck where it comes back within about a week or so, 7 to 10 days, something like that. But it's just one of those situations where the banking system is what it is. It takes a little. I'm going on my first 3-day cruise on Navigator in August. What should I focus on in those 3 days to get the best value? I mean, see, here's what I would say. I'm gonna tell you why I'm wrong. I'm gonna start for the answer. My answer to your question is you should focus on doing as much as you can on board the ship. The things the cruise ship brings to you, the events, the activities, water slides, trivia, love and marriage game show, opportunities to meet other guests. Like you want to be part of the fun, part of that cruise experience. And then I'll tell you why that's what I just told you is terrible advice, and that is a cruise is what you make of it. Some people will tell you, Jay Maymon, that go sit in your room and take a nap every day and just hang out and but enjoy not being at home and not being at work. There isn't a right or wrong way, but if your idea is to get the best value in the sense of time for your money and things for your money, things to do for your money, I should say, then I think obviously take advantage of the activities. Read the cruise compass every day. Look through the app. Look for opportunities for new events that are on there. But also, if you find that you get to 1 o'clock in the afternoon and you're feeling run down, you really could use a nap. You have this FOMO feeling where you're, oh gosh, I'm missing out on everything. That's the reason to book another cruise. Anybody who cruises a lot, people that are Diamond Plus, Pinnacle, they will tell you there's more cruises you can book. You can't do it all in one cruise anyway. But do what you can, do what you want to do, and book another cruise to be able to do the rest. Now, would you recommend Icon of the Seas for me and my 12-year-old son? Do you think it's too big? I would definitely recommend it for you and your 12-year-old son, and I don't think it's too big. There is no such thing as too big. I really don't. I really believe that. I don't see. It's not. It's kind of like saying, well, I don't know if it's the same. I was gonna say like if your town, have you been to every single street in your town? Does that matter? Like you haven't seen it all. Like you just take advantage of what you want to take advantage of, and ignore the rest. We did Odyssey, and that was great. Considering Wonder or Icon next year. If you can do Odyssey, you can do Icon. They're big ships, lots to do on there. There'll be a lot for your 12-year-old son and for you to enjoy as well. New ships, Jules, I generally think are really good for the certainly for families and for kids, but also for you as well. Royal Caribbean really wants Icon to be more than just, if you're looking at Icon, it's all for the kids. No, there are things for the kids, but there's plenty to do for adults as well. And the idea is that Royal Caribbean, if you notice the marketing, Royal Caribbean is called, it's the family cruise, the ultimate family cruise. Family. And family doesn't mean kids. I mean, it does mean kids, but it means also other people as well. And so while there are a lot of things for kids to do on board, including your 12-year-old son, there's also a lot of things for you to do as well. And that's a really cool thing. Thoughts on Christmas cruise? So what's interesting is not only have I done a Christmas cruise, I've done a Christmas cruise out of Los Angeles over the holiday. Listen, it's a great way to celebrate. I mean, it's not a traditional you know, Christmas like you have at home, but that's what makes it fun. You don't have to cook. I mean, you can still bring presents on board, but you don't have. It's a little less, little less. What's the word? Overwhelming. I don't know if that makes sense. A little easier. And so, but there's still decorations on the ship. There are still special events if your cruise actually goes over Christmas Day. You can meet Santa Claus. There's gift exchanges, caroling. So you're not compromising on the experience. There'll still be special things happening on board the ship. What type of insurance should I get just for basic cancellation? What company should I use? So the policies are all different, Andy. And I can't give you a recommendation because it's kind of like asking me, what car insurance should I get? What kind of policy, like what coverages do you want? I understand what you're saying, you want basic cancellation, but there are a number of them that are out there. My advice to you, Andy, if I don't have one specifically to recommend to you, but I would recommend you go to a website like insuremytrip.com. I don't have any relationship with them at all, but if you go there and you they can you they can provide you a number of different plans across different companies. You can compare and contrast to see. The important thing you want to know, because when you say basic cancellation, that is a loaded statement. It means more than you think it means. As in, when does it kick in and when does it activate? Because there are only certain scenarios that you can cancel. As an example, and this is a very basic one, there are two types of plans. There's regular travel insurance, and then there's cancel for any reason. Cancel for any reason is as it sounds, cancel for any reason, it'll kick in. The problem is it only covers 75%, but it allows you a lot more flexibility. So anyway, my point is that there's a lot of different policies out there. InsureMyTrip.com is a good resource. There's other websites that are like that. So if you find another one, that's totally fine, in which you can compare and contrast travel insurance options. Have a great night, everybody. Stay safe out there. Do something fun, like book another roller coaster cruise. We'll talk again very soon, right here on YouTube. Bye, everybody.